A pleasant good morning and welcome to Fulcrum News Summary. 50 minutes of news presentation covering Liberia, Africa, and our own war. In the headlines, Liberia holds talks with U.S. officials over pending travel ban on Liberia, warning the U.S. of the country's strong diplomatic ties with the United States. President Waikato Hold reburied former Liberian President William Richard Tolbert, who died in the country's historic coup in pre-war era that prompted the country bitter past. Former Minister D. Mazwe Kimia rejects government arrest and detention, says it is unlawful and driven by politics, and away from whom two U.S. firefighters shot dead in total ambush, police said. These and many more are all packaged. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we bring you more development in our news program. Welcome back and thanks for joining us on this presentation. Steel giant ArcelorMittal is expected to appear before the House of Representatives Joint Committee on Investment and Concessions on Tuesday, July 1, 2025 for formal concession compliance hearing. The House, among other things, is requesting ArcelorMittal Liberia to present a comprehensive financial report covering its operations in Liberia over the past 5 years. According to the House Bureau of Price and Public Affairs, the hearing is being organized in close collaboration with the Committees on Land, Mines, Energy, Natural Resources, and Environment, Labor. The hearing will focus on ArcelorMittal Liberia's compliance with its mineral development agreement. The House has also requested a concession company to submit all relevant documentation in support of its presentation before or on the date of the hearing. Recently, there has been mounting public calls from Nima County Legislative Caucus accused ArcelorMittal of falling short on key components of its mineral development agreement. Nima County Senator Nyan Tuan, who made revelation, vowed to lead an uncompromising campaign against ArcelorMittal to ensure that the company live up to its mineral development agreement and remain compliant in its social corporate responsibility. Meanwhile, Nima County District 7 Representative Musa Ability publicly backed Senator Towan's stance against ArcelorMittal and called on the individuals who are members of the caucus to avoid interfering with concerns raised by the caucus, which reflect the interests of the locals in Liberia at large. Former Foreign Minister D. Maswell Kimia has described his arrest and detention as unlawful and politically driven, accusing the Bwaka's administrations of targeting opposition voices. Kimia and other government officials face charges over alleged diversion of over 25,000 bags of solely donated rice meant for disaster victims, valued at over 425,000. He insists that the charges are basically describing them as political wisdom designed to damage his reputations and weaken views aligned with former President George Weah. Legal tension rose after report that defense lawyers were initially denied and some accused were jailed before judicial commitment orders were formally signed by the court. The government argues that the case is based on strong audit evidence under the Bwaka's arrest anti-corruption agenda. If convicted, officials will face long prison sentences and assets seizure. University of Liberia Student Union Interim Leadership President Jacqueline Bleo Timber has assured her administration will be premised on key democratic pillars. President Timber, who was newly sworn into office, named unity, accountability, and advocacy as hallmark of her leadership. She said the move will not only foster unity and diversity, but also help in accelerating strategic progress of the union. She highlighted that her administration will collaborate with student-based organizations and independent voices geared towards constructive dialogue. The The student interim president had also vowed to institute monthly town hall meeting, public financial report, a move she said reflects the decision of the student community. Meanwhile, the also president has emphasized that the need for improved library resources, sanitation, and affordable tuition as part of her advocacy's plan. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs over the weekend held an engagement meeting with officials of the U.S. Embassy in Monrovia. The bilateral discussion bordered on the U.S. government looming restrictions on several African countries, including Liberia. The meeting with Mr. Nicholas Warden and Mr. Raymond Stevens of the U.S. Embassy is part of the government of Liberia broader efforts aimed at fostering stronger diplomatic relations with the U.S. government. U.S. officials expressed growing concern over multiple visa-related challenges originating from Liberia. They named long overstay of non-immigrant visitor, the summations of fraudulent documentations, among others. According to Mr. Warden, approximately 20% of Liberians granted non-immigrant visa do not return at the end of unauthorized stay in the U.S. Meanwhile, the UN envoy acknowledged that the proactive step taken by the government of Liberia, highlighting the formation of a high-level presidential task force. Montserrado County Electoral District Number 10 Representative Yeka Kaluba has launched his 2029 campaign, making the announcement Sunday afternoon while addressing motorcyclists in Barkerville, Grandview County. Kaluba sharply criticized the White House administration, accusing it of completely failing to deliver meaningful reform or improve ordinary citizen life despite many promises of change during the last election. He argued President Bouazizi would not win a second term in 2029 and vowed to unite the opposition bloc in to block the incumbent from returning to power. Kaluba has promised to actively support a campaign for a fit and credible opposition candidate, emphasizing the strong commitment to achieving significant political change and new leadership in Liberia. According to him, his earlier declaration stems from President Bouazizi's early electoral campaign activities ahead of the 2029 election. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we bring you more development on our news program. Welcome back and thanks for joining us on this presentation. Let's bring you a recap of major stories we have been following very closely on our news presentation. Liberia's holds talks with U.S. officials over pending ban on Liberia, warning the U.S. of the country's strong diplomatic ties with the United States. President Bouazizi to hold reburial of former Liberian President William R. Tubman, who died in the country's historic coup in pre-war era that prompted the country beat her past. Former President Former Minister Dimazo Kimia rejects government arrest and detention, says it is unlawful and driven by politics, and away from home, two U.S. soldiers shot dead. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we bring you more interesting developments on our news program. Two firefighters were fatally shot in a mountain community in Idaho in the northwestern U.S. while responding to a brush fire, officials said. Another firefighter was injured when the suspect opened fire with a high-powered rifle near the city of Horry, Adelan, according to Cottonian County Sheriff Office. SWAT officers later located a deceased male nearby to where the attack took place on Canyon Mountain and lifted a sheltered in place order. Residents also warned that an active wildfire was still continuing on the mountain. The suspect is believed to have started the fire intentionally as a way to ambush first responders, according to Cottonian County Sheriff Robert Norris. According to police, the dead man was found nearby a fireman after the hours-long standoff, which included shots being fired by police. Police are still awaiting official identification and say nothing is yet known about his background. They have not confirmed how the man died or what the firearm was discovered. The sheltered in place notice was lifted at 20.5 PST, but residents were told to be prepared and ready should further action be taken. The firefighters who were killed were not immediately identified. Officials said that they could be driven in a procession to the nearby city of Hopeland, Washington, escorted by the envoys of officials' vehicle. One was a member of the Co-Ardenian Fire Department, while the other was a Cottonian County Fire and Rescue firefighter. Sheriff Norris said that the preliminary investigation has found that there was only one gunman after he said earlier that there could have been many as if four different attackers. The attacker was found after a mobile phone signal revealed his location, he said. He said that the sound that the gunman appeared to have run and shot the evidence could be expected to be found all around the mountain. He said that the attacker may have stashed weapons in different places. This was a total ambush. These firefighters do not have a chance, the sheriff said. He added that the investigator had to search the scene quickly due to the encouraging fire and that the information they had was still very, very preliminary. A fire was rapidly approaching that body and he had to scoop up the body and transfer the body to another location, he said. The attack occurred about 5 miles north of the central Coil Island. The fire grew up to 20 acres after it was first reported and continued to blaze into the sunny night. Sheriff Norris warned earlier in the day as the attack was still unfolding that if the fighters was not neutralized quickly, it is going to be likely a multi-day operation. The call for the brush fire came in around 1:22 local time on Sunday. At 14, firefighters reported shot fires and over 300 law enforcement officers rushed to the scene. FBI agents were also deployed. Siren sounds as emergency workers gathered at Idaho shooting scene. The shooter was hidden among heavy brush and thick trees, the sheriff said, adding that the police sniper sent in helicopter over the scene. Helicopter with heat-seeking technology were flying over the area trying to pinpoint the assailant, but they experienced difficulty because of smoke from the wildfire, which was still burning, according to the CBS News and the BBC U.S. partner. Officials had appeared to the public to stay away and not to fly drone over the site. A firefighter union boss confirmed two of its members had been killed in the attack. Edward Kelly, a president of the International Association of Firefighters Union, posted on X while responding to a early fire in Quadrat. Members were ambushed in the Helion's acts of violence. Now, to end this news, we recap major stories we have been following very closely on our news presentation. Liberia holds talks with U.S. officials over pending travel ban on Liberia, warning the U.S. of country's strong diplomatic ties with the United States. President Boakai to hold reburial of former Liberian President William R. Tubber, who died in who died in the historic coup in the pre-war era that prompted the country Beta Pass. Former Minister D. Mazrokimia, who just government arrest and detention, says it is unlawful and driven by politics, and away from whom two firefighters were shot dead earlier on today. This is Spoken News Summary. My name is Lyndon Topa. I present a good morning.